welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about something that I have been getting so many questions about and so many requests on. So we're going to talk about how I store my patterns. So if you've seen any of my videos and my fabric haul videos or anything like that, you'll see that whenever I pick up a piece of fabric, I pick up an envelope that has a picture of the pattern or the line drawing on it, and that's how I keep my patterns. And so I keep getting questions about that. So I'm going to get right into it and show you exactly what I do and how I keep everything organized, and it takes such a small amount of time. You will most likely love it. So here we go. So first we're gonna get our materials. Super simple, okay? Tape, pin, regular scissors, not fabric scissors because you're gonna cut paper. And then I use these envelopes. I get them from Amazon. They're really simple, they're really cheap. They're white envelopes. They have a little flap in the back. And I fold my pattern pieces to fit inside here. And I will show you an example of that later. So what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna show you what I'm doing on my computer here. So first I'm gonna go into my emails, and I'm gonna type in PDF plotting. Now I'm typing in PDF plotting because I order all of my AOs from this company, and so I know that if these AOs just came in and these are patterns I've just bought, that I need to make envelopes for them. Even if the pattern hasn't been cut out yet, I like to have an envelope with the line drawing in my little sections of patterns so that I can know that I have that pattern, even if it isn't cut out yet, even if it's still in the roll over in the corner where I store all my AOs that are really, really big and all rolled up. The last order I put in had a couple of patterns in it, so I'm just going to show you guys the first one. So the first one on here is this Silky Patterns Rossetti. So what I'm going to do is then I go into my finder, type in Silky. Okay, found it. Silky Patterns Rossetti instructions. You can see I have a lot of their patterns. All right, so here it is. So what I like to do is put a picture of the line drawing on the front. So before we decide if we want to print this sheet as is, you need to decide whether or not you think it's going to fit on this envelope. Now these envelopes are 6 inches by 9 inches. So 6 inches wide by 9 inches high. And you know, a piece of paper is like 8.5 inches wide and for US letter and 11 inches tall. So I think that this one will work fine as is, and since this is the page I'm on, I'm going to put current page, and then I'm just going to print that out, and that will be what I put on the front of the envelope. So the next thing I want to do is I want to include details about the pattern. So if I'm thinking about making a pattern, or if I have a piece of fabric and I think to myself, what kind of skirt pattern would that work for, or what kind of shirt pattern would go with that, or what kind of pattern in general would go with that, I like to see how much the pattern requires, what the notions are, what kind of fabric the pattern needs, the size chart so I can figure out how much fabric I need because I need to know what size I am. And you know, just things like that that will help me know, okay, do I have enough fabric? And on every piece of fabric that I store, I have a little card inside of it that tells me what the fabric is, where it's from, if it's been washed, and how many meters or yards that I have. And I can have another video on that soon if you guys would like. But for today, we're just talking about how I store my patterns. So Basically this page shows me a lot about the pattern. I could probably print this out regular size. Of note, if I wanted to print it out smaller, which I think on this page it would be too small, but I'm gonna click current page. I could actually do a custom scale and then do 50%, and then it would print it only 50% of the page. So it would shrink everything down to be only 50% of an 8.5 by 11, which to me, that is usually way small enough to fit on this little card. But actually, the way that this is presented here, and the fact that it's 2 sides and it has a lot of information on both sides, I'm going to just go ahead and print that as is, because it looks pretty small, because the information I need is only on half the page. So you just kind of have to see like how big it is. So on this half of a page, it's giving me the size chart, which I need, and I don't typically include the finished garment measurements unless it's like pants or something like that where I like really want to know what it is. But that's something I can always just look up, like because I have all of the files on my phone, like all the PDF files on my phone, or they're in my cloud, so I can just download them and look that up quickly. Fabric tips are over here. Now this is a kind of dress that I know what kind of fabric it's going to need. I know what kind of fabric I'm going to want to use. I don't really need that kind of advice, so I will sometimes put this on the pattern envelope, but sometimes I don't, because for this dress I know what I want to make it out of. It's going to be some kind of viscose or cotton lawn or something like that. And I don't really need the recommendations. I like to use them when I'm making, like, you know, something different, like maybe dungarees or overalls, or a blazer, or pants, like a different kind of pant where it can be made out of viscose or, you know, denim or something like that. I actually don't know any pairs of pants that can be made like that, but you never know. Sometimes I don't include it. So, but for this, I don't think I'm gonna need it. I don't include the lay plans or anything like that. Right now I'm looking for the fabric requirements. Let's see. Oh, here it was. It was on this page I've already printed. See, sometimes you just don't see it. So what you need, fabric requirements, and it's right there. And then you have the elastic that you need, which I like, because when I'm batch cutting projects, I like to just get out exactly what I need. Elastic, zippers, buttons, everything at the very beginning, so that when I sit down to sew, I can have all of my materials and I don't have to get up and go and find them. It makes it a really, really nice experience. So it looks like everything I needed is printed on this one page, which is really lucky. That hardly ever happens. So I'm gonna run to the printer and go grab it and then start cutting it out and show you how I do it. All right, and I'm back. All right, so first I'm gonna cut out the line drawings. I think if I cut them out just together, like I don't have to cut them out separately and kind of squeeze them on the page, they'll fit. So I'm just gonna cut them out in this chunk here. Shows me all the different kinds of views that I can make. So now I'm going to pop it on the front there. Simple piece of tape. Nothing crazy. And now I will take my pen, write down Silky Patterns, write down the name of the dress, and then, so I write that up here, and then if I've cut it out, I put down what size I've cut out. Right up here, I put size 6 or size 8 or size 14 or whatever, it depends on what it is. And they're not perfect. You can see I even taped this on a tiny bit crooked. I mean, it's just a rough thing. It's something that I like to have in my little boxes, so when I'm thumbing through all of my dress patterns, I can see this one even if it's not cut out. The other thing is, this one is a shirt and a dress. I don't make 2 envelopes for something that's like that unless I think I'm for sure gonna make the shirt, then I probably will. But if I think I'm gonna mostly make this as a dress, I put it in my dress box. So what am I talking about with these different boxes? So let me pause real quick and tell you that every pattern has its own category and its own box. So I have a little box of shirt patterns, a little box of dress patterns, a little box of pants patterns, a little box of swimsuit and bra patterns, you know, a little box of skirt patterns. And I file these where they go. So we can go through that another day, but I wanted to tell you what I was talking about when I talk about all these boxes. So next I'm going to cut out the size chart. I always like to put that in there at the top. I put this information on the back. So I'm going to tape that. Now, if your size chart is really large and it takes up a lot of room, even if you shrink it down, you can always, here it is. You can always just include like the range of your size. So maybe like your size and, you know, 2 or 3 below and 2 or 3 above, so that because you don't need the whole range if it's a very large range and if it's too wide for your paper. The other thing I've done when it's really wide, even if I've shrunk it down, I have taped it here and let it kind of extend out and then just like folded it over, and it goes fine in my little box. So, all right, so next I'm going to cut out the supplies. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate matching thread, because to me that's obvious, and I'm going to eliminate the fact that I need a sewing machine. But I am going to include the elastic and the fabric requirements, and this little piece also has what kind of width of fabric will go well with this pattern and what kind of skirts will fit on what kind of widths. So I think they are talking about how the skirt is very wide and you need a certain kind of width. So that's important information to know what kind of width of fabric I would need. So I'm going to definitely include that. Basically anything that you would want to know when you have a piece of fabric in front of you and you're wanting to decide if it will suit this pattern. Now I know probably a lot of you are thinking to yourself, but what if I'm out and about and I'm shopping? Well, for me, I just pull up the pattern on my phone because I do have the cloud, and anything I download to my computer or my iPad goes into my cloud, not necessarily on my phone, but it's stored in my cloud. So if I need it and I'm in the store and have semi-good service or internet, then I can click on the pattern in my cloud, it will download it, open it up, and I can get all the information I need there. So it's really not a big deal for me. I have tried other storage services. For a while I was keeping my things on Trello, which is a place where you can kind of make categories and you can make a list of patterns you have if you want, or a list of anything really. It's not just for patterns. And then for another while I was just making like a list and notes in my notes section on my computer. But to me, it was just so much extra work, and I'm a very visual person. So like if I was just writing down a pattern name, I wouldn't be able to visualize it as much as if I could just like see the line drawing. Because, you know, we all know the line drawing tells us so much. It tells me so much. Like, you know, if a fabric isn't very good at gathering, but you're considering it for this dress, well, you can see this dress has several places that it gathers. So just from the line drawing, that's why I don't put the regular picture up, because I want to see the details that show me, will this dress look good in this fabric? You know, it's got like a ruffle down here and ruffles up here. You don't want to use like really stiff fabric as well. If you're thinking about print mixing, which I did in another video that I posted, you can just look and see how many different pattern pieces are on here just by the line drawing. So I find the line drawing is really, really helpful. even if, especially if you're thinking about doing stripes and you want to kind of like have stripes go different ways, horizontal and vertical, you can look at this line drawing and you can see how many options you have, which are kind of a lot for this very thing. So it's really, really helpful for me to have the line drawing because it really helps my imagination have something concrete to work with. So we're not quite done. The other thing I do is I've just started to do this. It's not on every single thing that I have, but the other thing that I do is I just started to look and see if I can find the seam allowance on the pattern. And sorry, I'm not showing the computer right this second, but I'm just looking on here to see if I can find it, because to me it's so irritating when I'm ready to sew, I'm getting my pieces together, I'm about to do the first step, and then I'm like, wait, what's the seam allowance? And so it really bugs me when I don't like just know what it is, and if I put it on my pattern envelope, then it's just there and it's easy to find and it's ready to go. I mean, you can see that it's taking me forever to find it. Oh, I found it. Okay, so it's under terms and it says seam allowance. The other thing you can do actually in a document is you can use a find function or search function within the document depending on what you're using to view it. And you can just type in seam allowance and it'll jump to wherever it is. But it says our patterns have a 1.5 centimeter or 5/8 seam allowance. So taking my pen, writing that down, big letters and numbers so that I know. That is great. All right, and the seam allowance is included. That's also very important whenever you cut out your pattern. Let me grab one that's already cut out and show you kind of how I fold my pieces. So here's a pattern that I just made. And so here's a piece that is a collar piece. Well, this can basically fit in the envelope without folding it at all. So I try to fold it to its biggest possible state so that it's less bulky. Now this one I can pretty much put in like this. All I did was fold it, you know, it's the sleeve. I folded it in half and folded it again. I can slip it in like this. This is not very difficult. It's not rocket science. I just fold it until it is about the size of the envelope. There is no special technique. There's nothing crazy. You see how this barely fits in there? You will get used to it. Once you start using these, you will kind of intuitively fold your pattern pieces to be about this width. And so this one has pretty much a lot of pieces. I mean, it's not a small amount. If I have a pattern that has multiple views, like let's say I have my Shelby by True Bias, the Shelby dress and romper, and I ordered all the AOs kind of by accident, and so I had like multiples of pattern pieces. And so what I did was I made an envelope for the romper, I made an envelope for the dress, because it was just too much to go in one envelope. So, you know, I will do that. I will break up the views. If there is a pattern where I use, like I said before, where I use the shirt of it, like I make it as a shirt a lot and as a dress, I will want it to be in both boxes, the shirt box and the dress box. And so sometimes I will make another envelope for that. And then even if it doesn't have any pattern pieces in it, at least I can visually see that I have this pattern as a shirt, and it's also like another blouse pattern that I have, because I won't think of it if it's not in that box. So since I'm talking so much about boxes, I am going to have a video about this later, but I'm going to give you a sneak peek of them. So I just grabbed the first two, I think I'm gonna do another like kind of sewing tour at some point because I feel like I change stuff all the time. So I was gonna talk about these then, but I'll give you a little preview here. So I have 2 shirt boxes, but this is one of them. So this is a shirt or blouse, so I pop it in here. So, and then here are my pants patterns, which this box is a little bit full, so I think I might get another one from Amazon and split these apart. I'm constantly just like cleaning out. And whenever, so this is what I was talking about, when I have a piece of fabric, I want to make something out of it. I think, okay, I want this to be a blouse, or I want this to be a skirt, or I don't know what I want it to be. Then I will just pull out a few boxes that I think I might want to look through, and then I just thumb through my patterns like this. I just go, no, 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 yes, yes, ooh, yeah, 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 and then I just go bam, 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 and then I sit here and I'm like, this one, or you know, sometimes I'll call my mom and ask her which one I should do, or you know, I have a couple of methods of how I do that. And then I basically plan my projects, which I'm also going to talk about that at a later date, but that's kind of how it goes, and it's really simple. I don't like to be on my phone all the time because I'm on my phone enough as it is, and so I really just like this like tactile touch method where I can pick it up, touch it, put it on my top of my fabric. Here's some fabric. Oh, it's beautiful. Put it on top of my fabric and be like, you know, actually this would look really pretty. But I already made a blouse out of this. Can't wait to show you guys. I put it on top of my fabric and I think, do I want it to be that? No. And then I'll get another blouse, put it on top, or skirt or whatever. And because I'm the kind of person that like, I don't like to spend a lot of time doing things, and I don't like to, and I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings by saying this, but I don't like to waste time that doesn't go towards a goal of doing something really productive. So like, I don't like to cut out swatches unless I'm print mixing or something like that, which I did in a video recently, because it uses up my fabric, it takes up extra time, and all I have to do is just grab the fabric and put it on top. So that, to me, I know a lot of people do that, and that is totally fine, but that's just not how I like to do it, because then I feel like I'm just wasting time. Because honestly, sometimes I'll have a pattern I want to make and I have like 15 pieces of fabric on the floor, like in the running for this particular pattern, and if I had taken the time to cut all those swatches, it would irritate me, because then I would have to keep them somewhere in case I don't use that fabric, so I can have that swatch again, and then I had to search through and find the swatch whenever I wanted to pair it with something again. And I'm just too indecisive. Like sometimes I'll just hold the pattern up against my fabric stash, which is why I like to keep it open. And I do keep the blinds closed a lot so that it can't get a lot of sun, but I like to keep my stash open so that I can kind of like take the pattern and go, that one, you know? And so I do that as well. So I don't really cut swatches out. I don't like storing my patterns in like a computer system because I know that I won't do it. That's just how I like to plan my projects. I don't like to spend a lot of time planning them. I like to just get to it and start sewing. So that's pretty much it. And I forgot to drink my tea like the entire time. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, hit me up down below. I love to see your comments, your suggestions. If you hate the way I do things, you're welcome to say that too. If you have any criticisms, that's fine. I love constructive criticism, if I can say it right. If you like this video, hit the like button down below so we can help other people find it. And if you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to be notified when I have another video. I have lots more content coming up, and I can't wait to hang out with you guys some more. Hope you enjoy your day, and I'll talk to you later.